Cool Movie Ratings, and today I'm doing a video I wanted to put out for a long time. Top 10 favorite movies. My 10 of my favorite movies of all time, which if I could only take 10 movies with me on another island, like if I was stranded on an island, these are the movies that I would take with me and watch. So it's going to be kind of a longer video because I'm going to not really do reviews, but I'm going to talk a little bit about each movie, and a couple of them I have ties for. There's two on the top 10 that I have ties for, but you'll see when I get into the video. But thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get right into this. Top 10 of my two movies that have gotten me into movies, which are The Goonies and Back to the Future. Both executive produced by my favorite director of all time, Steven Spielberg. Back to the Future was directed by Robert Zemeckis, who would go on to make the two other sequels, which, if you're a fan of this movie, they're getting released to 4K. I'll have a picture of it. And on October 20th, they're putting out a Steelbook edition, cool Amazon edition that I think I'm going to get, and just the regular edition, which I'm really excited about. I'm saving my money up for that. And The Goonies is directed by, he's the guy who directed Superman, Richard Donner. He did the first two Supermans. And Steven Spielberg wrote the story for The Goonies. Didn't write any of the story for Back to the Future, but these are two amazing movies to show. Probably if your kid is probably 7 years old, these are two movies you should show them to get into movies. It's a little bit of cursing, that's the only thing, really. The Goonies and Back to the Future will always have a special place in my heart because of the amazing story, and they're kind of relatable to the Goonies because of that movie. Sean Astin is probably one of my favorite actors in Stranger Things. And he's in Stranger Things, so I'm like, it's Mikey! But, that's funny. So let's get into, so that's my number 10, and let's get into number 9. And at number 9 is a Steven Spielberg classic, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Sorry, I'm moving. But, this was my third favorite movie for the longest time until I watched a couple of them, and then it just got pushed back even more and more. I love this movie because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but yeah, the twist at the end is, at the beginning you're scared of the aliens, but then what happens in the end, it's such an amazingly crafted movie. Close Encounters stars Richard Dreyfuss, who had previously worked with Steven Spielberg on Jaws, and he gives an amazing performance in it. I think it's probably a better performance than he did in Jaws, just because, well, he was really good in Jaws, but in Jaws he was not really the super dramatic character. He was kind of like the comedy character. But Close Encounters brings all the right elements of action, drama, suspense, kind of comedy, not really comedy, and a tiny bit of horror because it's kind of scary. But Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I will always love it, and it's always going to be one of my favorite Steven Spielberg movies of all time. My number 8 pick is the 1994 movie Speed. I just watched this not crazy long ago, to be honest, in my basement with my family, and I loved it. It was such a good movie. It's probably in my top 3 favorite action. Well, I don't know. I gotta do another list, but not just top movies. But Speed is an amazing action movie. The scenes on the bus is probably one of my favorite scenes on any movie. And the one where they're jumping the thing, it's kind of unrealistic, but it's one of my favorite scenes in any movie. This film is directed by a not really heard of director. I bet you haven't heard of, I think it's a guy, I don't even know. But I don't think you've heard of Jandy Bont, Jandy Bott. I don't know if I said his name right, but he ended up going to do a sequel, which I haven't seen, and I don't think I will see it because it got 4 Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it got Worst Picture or something like that. But this film stars Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock, and I forget the bad guy. If you look it up, you'll be able to see him. But super interesting movie, super suspenseful. and the bad guy is literally one of the most believable bad guys, and you're just like, die, die, die at the end of the movie. You'll see what I mean if you watch the movie, but it's an amazing action movie. Definitely recommended. Okay, let's get into number 7. Coming in at number 7 is my only movie that I like that is above that was released after 2000, which is a movie that was released last year, actually, Knives Out. I love this movie. The twist at the end makes this movie a 9.5 out of 10, just in my already. The acting by Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas and Captain America, Chris Evans is such amazingly well without each other. The end twist is such an amazing part of this movie, and it's so surprising how the guy who did The Last Jedi, which was kind of trash, and it seemed that his career wouldn't really take off, he directs this awesome movie which should have been nominated for more Academy Awards. I would have nominated for Best Picture, to be honest. But he comes back and does this awesome movie, and Knives Out is such an amazing movie. If you like mystery movies, this is the movie for you. And I might be pointing at something. I'm pointing at the list on my list on my desk. So sorry, but Knives Out is an amazing movie. If you like mystery movies, that's the movie for you. Coming in with another tie for 6th place is The Godfather, the first one. I like the first one more than the second one. And the first or second Rocky, I would say, let's say the second Rocky. I like Rocky 2 more than the original. You might yell at me for that. And The Godfather over the original, but the original Godfather is such an amazing twist of action, comedy, suspense. Marlon Brando does an amazing job playing Vito Corleone in the first one. Corleone something. I always say Corleone. I'm like, that's not right. But Godfather is an amazing movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola. First one won Best Picture, Best Actor, all that kind of stuff. I think Al Pacino does an amazing job in the movie as Michael, his son, who would eventually take on the role of Vito after he passes. But it's an amazing movie directed by Francis Ford Coppola. It's my favorite out of the 2 I've seen. I've heard the third isn't pretty good, but I'm going to watch it anyways because it's a Francis Ford Coppola movie. I'm going to see it. But Rocky 2 is my favorite Rocky movie and my tied for 6th favorite movie because the end is so rewarding. You can kind of guess by when I say that. I'm sorry if I'm kind of spoiling it, but Rocky and Adrian have a baby, and she goes into a coma. So it's more turned on drama than action this time. So it's a good mix of action, not really comedy, and definitely drama. But the performance that Sylvester Stallone gives is such an amazing performance. I think he should have got nominated for more stuff for that. But Rocky 2, I love it. I like how it picks up like this at the end of it picks up like this at the beginning of the movie. It's him literally in the hospital, like the emergency car, going to the hospital from the first one. So I always like when they do that. Like a lot of other movies do that too, which I think is really amusing. Okay, coming into number 5. Coming into number 5 is Poltergeist. I recently watched this movie as well. Such an amazing Steven Spielberg movie directed by Tobe Hooper. It's not directed by Steven Spielberg. People say it was secretly directed by him because he was directing E.T. I just did this and it kind of relates to E.T. because he goes like this or something like that. He was directing E.T. at the same time, and Universal said you could not direct any other movies when he was directing E.T. So he wanted to direct Poltergeist, but he couldn't, so the job went to Tobe Hooper, who did some other horror movies, which I'd never really heard of him until then. So people say he secretly directed it, and the actors know, but they had never really shared it, so I was always wondering that. It's an amazing movie. It's definitely a scary movie. I love it a lot. I don't really have much to say about it because I definitely want to do a full review for this movie. I'll do that some other time. But let's get into my top 4 favorite. Coming in at number 4 is another recent movie, which really blew my socks off. I was so incredibly amazed about it. Aliens, the James Cameron masterpiece. When I watched this, my mind went like this. Because I have another movie directed by him up on this list. I've said it a lot. You kind of got to guess that, but if you watch me. But James Cameron does an amazing job bringing back the original from the Alien. And I do like how it does kind of come off the first one, but like I said, it's a new story because it's 57 years later. But you might ask how, but go watch the movie, it's amazing. But the mix between horror and action and suspense is so amazing. Kyle Reese plays the main character in this. He plays Corporal Hicks or Corporal or one of those private things. I don't know, but he plays Hicks in it, and Ellen Ripley is played by Sigourney Weaver, who just from this movie is probably my favorite actress of all time. One of, definitely. Her, Laura Dern, and some other actresses. But she gives such an amazing performance in this movie. Definitely, I think should have won the Best Actress for that year. I know she was nominated, but the what's it called? The character bonding between her and Carrie Henn's character Newt is so good. Newt is like a daughter to, I was gonna say Sigourney, to Ripley, and throughout the movie, Ripley's just like that good mom that always wants to protect her child. Such an amazing movie, James Cameron masterpiece. 100% recommend it. Let's get into my top 3. At number 3 is Jurassic Park. This movie is freaking amazing. Steven Spielberg does one of his second best movie in my opinion, after the next one on my list. Oh my god, this movie is so good. Jurassic Park stars Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum. I'm saying that kind of fast, so it might appear on the screen. I'm sorry if it doesn't, but oh my god, this movie is so good. This is my first movie that I really watched Steven Spielberg that was kind of up a notch from like Tintin, because I love Tintin. It's still in top 30 probably. But Jurassic Park is an amazing movie. If you love dinosaurs, you have to see this movie. This movie got me into dinosaurs, and I have all this stuff from it. I literally have so much stuff. Like, I have the first book, the second book, all the movies on DVD and Blu-ray. It's insane, and I'm going to upgrade to 4K soon. Jurassic Park is an amazing movie. It's always going to have a place in my heart, and I will always watch it with my children, and then their children, and then my son will watch it with their children. Yeah, you can understand. Jurassic Park is an amazing movie. I would 100% recommend watching it. Okay, coming in at number 2 is kind of obvious. Well, not really. I was going back and forth between number 1 and number 2, which you'll find out in a second. Jaws. Oh my god, Jaws is such an amazing Steven Spielberg movie. My number 1 favorite Steven Spielberg movie. Jaws is so freaking amazing. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. I was talking with one of my good buddies. Well, I just kind of met him on a live stream, but Smedra, if you're watching this, thank you to you. But we were talking about it. He's like, it's my favorite movie of all time. And I was telling him about my number 1 favorite, and he's like, I haven't seen it. I'm like, you gotta see it. But thank you, Smedra, for talking to me. That was a lot of fun. Back to the Jaws. Oh my god, I posted a review on it, and it's actually my most viewed video, if you want a fun fact. 136 today, I believe. But Jaws is such an amazing movie. Stars, I don't remember the main characters. Chief Brody, but Roy Scheider is his name. I was like, Matt Hooper, who is played by Richard Dreyfuss, who I talked about a little bit earlier in Close Encounters, and Robert Shaw, who would sadly pass away 2 years later, and I thought he was a really good part of Jaws. Very believable as Quint. but this movie it's actually counted as a horror movie. If you've seen it, it scared me a little bit of going in the ocean, but like now I'm in the ocean, like yay! But swimming, but it's not really a horror movie. It's got some suspense. I'm gonna get braces in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so I'm gonna have all this fixed soon. But it's really suspenseful. Nailed it. But it's action, suspense, comedy. It's actually a big mix. It's got almost all those big genres except for mystery and romance, really. But Roy Scheider gives an amazing performance. Sorry, I just moved the camera. Jaws is such an amazing classic movie. It will never ever be forgotten in my history. And it's one of my dad's favorite movies. I never found out. I didn't know until a long time ago. But Jaws is such an amazing movie. I would 1,000% recommend. I would 1,000% recommend watching Jaws. So let's get on to number 1. If you're a fan of me, you will know what this is. If you are not, it is. But I watched this movie about 7 months ago, and since the night I watched it, I was like, yeah, favorite movie. This and Jaws went back and forth, so without keeping it so suspenseful, the movie is Terminator 2, Judgment Day. So that kid, Smedra, that I was talking to, I don't know if he's a kid, sorry Smedra if you aren't, but he said he'd never seen it, and I was like, Smedra, you gotta see it, buddy. But Terminator 2 stars Michael Biehn, who I talked about earlier on Aliens, and Sarah Connor is played by, once again, no, Michael Biehn is not in this movie. I'm so sorry. I'm thinking of the first Terminator. I am so sorry. He did play a part in a deleted scene, which is pretty interesting. You can probably find it on YouTube. But it stars Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor and Arnold Schwarzenegger in his best movie of all time as the T-800. I'm not going to spoil it, but his role in this one, I feel like, is way better than the first one, because once that, like, probably 15 minutes kicks in, there's one scene when John Connor and the Terminators are in the mall, and then when he reveals if he's good or bad, it's like, oh, yes. I kind of just gave that away, but most people have seen it if you're on my channel. Sorry if you haven't, but this movie was released in 1991. It got 4 Academy Awards for, like, makeup, special effects, all that, which was deserved because the T-1000, like, the metal things with the knives going in his hands out into people, is so interesting. That's so good. Even today, where it's like, it just transforms into, it's like a blade and that transforms into his hand. That's just so incredible. Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. My dad likes the first one better, which, if you comment down below if you've seen both of them, which one do you like better? Because I've always wanted to know what my fans thought, because I always call my dad crazy for that, and then I hope people agree with me, and then my dad's going to call me crazy. But thank you guys so much for watching. I've always wanted to put this out. Terminator 2 and all these movies I named on here are so freaking amazing. I would so 100% recommend watching them. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Sorry it was a little longer, and I will see you in another one. Goodbye. Guys, thank you so much for watching another cool movie ratings video. If you like this video, remember to hit that subscribe and like button down below. It's all appreciated. Thank you so much for watching.